I'm not really happy about having to make this video, but things have gotten a little out of hand, and so I feel like it has become necessary to talk about the issues going on at Capcom and how it can potentially affect not just current titles such as Monster Hunter World and Street Fighter 6, but also future releases moving forward like Dragon's Dogma 2. It's very unfortunate to see all of this going down, especially as Capcom has been on a very positive trend lately, with both Monster Hunter World and Rise and their respective expansions doing extremely well and breaking company records. And now of course we also have the Return to World campaign, which has been extremely successful. Street Fighter 6 has also sold quite well, and the player base seems to enjoy it quite a lot. We just got a Monster Hunter collaboration in Exoprimal and it has been a blast. And of course there's not long until Dragon's Dogma 2 releases, which may end up becoming one of this year's biggest titles. But I think that may just be Pokemon with guns. Can you guys believe that? Anyways, there are a lot of moving pieces to this ongoing story, and we keep getting new updates, so let me do my best and run you through all the events that led up to this. You guys may have heard some parts about this already on Twitter or from Max or Asmongold's videos, but there are more things to this that need to be discussed. So here's the thing. Monster Hunter Rise is currently being review bombed on Steam, but this time it's not because of an Elder Dragon that people cannot beat. Capcom has begun to implement DRM into their older titles. It's something that a lot of companies do, as they use DRM to authenticate your game purchase. They're basically trying to combat piracy. The issue, however, is that often implementing DRM will negatively impact a game's performance. Now, Capcom in particular is known for using the Nuvo in their past older titles. However, it seems that the Nuvo license is quite expensive, and so Capcom chose to not renew that license, and instead opted to implement a different DRM in the form of Enigma. There have been many talks online about Enigma containing malware, but from all that I have read, it seems as though that is purely speculation. Now, one thing that a lot of people seem to believe that is the major cause as to why Capcom has implemented Enigma is because of that whole Chun-Li scandal that happened a few months ago, where during a Street Fighter 6 tournament that happened during the summer of last year, a Chun-Li nude mod was briefly shown on screen accidentally. And of course that was a big scandal, and a couple of months later Capcom actually held an RE Engine conference that contained general information about the engine, and among all of those presentations, one of them was specifically about anti-piracy and anti-cheating, and it included a statement where Capcom stated the majority of mods can have a positive effect on the game, some mods however can be detrimental to the company, and that there are a number of mods that are considered offensive to public order and morals, and the image of the product is tarnished and the brandish is affected. However, and very unfortunately, Capcom ultimately chose to treat cheats and mods as the same thing, which means that their anti-cheat attempts can also be seen as attempts to prevent modding, which leads us to this whole situation with Enigma. Now, I'm going to be referring to Fluffy Quack, the person behind the Fluffy mod manager that is pretty much used on all of Capcom's recent titles whenever it comes to installing mods, as they have made lengthy posts on their Patreon talking about the entire situation, and Fluffy being someone that has worked with mods and modders for a very long time and is very prominent in the community, I believe that their insight is very valuable in all of this. The reason why I bring this up is that Fluffy goes on to state in their posts that Capcom has actually been adding the Enigma DRM to their games for a very long time now, with Resident Evil 5 getting it last year and the Street Fighter 6 beta getting it 2 years ago, so there is no way that all of this began with that controversy. Now, Capcom has shown their reluctancy to mods in the past, as they have added various layers of protection to their RE Engine games, and although most likely they were implemented to combat cheating and any kind of piracy, at the end of the day it also ends up restricting mods as well. Capcom has also taken down some videos where people showcase nudity mods on YouTube as well, which does make sense when you take into account their statement in regards to mods, and especially the tarnishing of the brand and their products. And although myself and most people, I would assume, do not like Capcom's stance on all of this, I think a lot of us get why they do it. But the issue, however, when it comes to their stance on modding is when it starts affecting players that have modded their games to a very reasonable extent. Capcom has recently sent copyright strikes against YouTube videos that were showcasing Monster Hunter Rise mods in videos that didn't even have anything to do with mods in the first place. They were simply used as a tool in the game and they were not the focus of the video itself. I first came across this whenever Superad talked about it on Twitter, and among the creators affected by this was Team Darkside, one of the biggest YouTube channels on the Monster Hunter community, and I believe it was 2 videos that were copyright struck, and for one, mods were not a focus of any of these videos, but secondly, one of those videos did not even contain a single mod in it. So Capcom at that point was just abusing their power in taking down that video. Now it is their license, it is within their rights to take these actions, whether we like it or not, but I think that it is rightful for us as a community to be upset at them for this. And this ties to the recent update that we got in Monster Hunter Rise, where Enigma was also implemented into that game. Before a few hours ago, no Monster Hunter title had the Enigma DRM implemented in it. However, that all changed today as a new patch was released which replaced the Nuvo with Enigma, and it has caused quite a stir. Because of this update, it seems as though Steam Deck support has been totally broken. So if you are someone that owns a Steam Deck, you simply cannot play Monster Hunter Rise on it currently. And from browsing Twitter, some users have stated that their system cannot launch the game currently, which is a huge problem. So when you have all of these circumstances around the topic of DRM and Capcom being anti-modding, of course this is what led to now Monster Hunter Rise being review bombed on Steam. At the time of me recording this, over 1100 negative reviews have been posted on Steam, and again, this was just today. While we don't have direct confirmation that the Enigma DRM specifically affects a game's performance, we do know for a fact that a lot of Steam Deck users become unable to launch their game, and it seems it has also affected many other users. And if this is all done in an effort by Capcom to combat piracy and anti-cheating, it kinda makes you wonder why they chose to change from the Nuvo to Enigma, or if they didn't properly handle it and now it is affecting Monster Hunter Rise and a lot of its users. Now, as for the mod side of things, according to Fluffy Quack, it seems that for the most part mods still work. So everything that you install within the native PC folder should work as usual, and that the RE frameworks also works as well. Although what seems has been affected are the DLL injection mods, which are a lot more specific. Ultimately, I believe that it is very important for these developers and companies to let their consumers alter their products with mods and such. As even stated by Capcom themselves, mods can have a very beneficial effect on the game. Very recently, I myself posted a video on YouTube where I showcased my favorite mods for Monster Hunter World, because despite me having over 2000 hours in that game and being my favorite game of all time, there are mods that can make it even better. I mean, there's even the Ice Community Edition for Monster Hunter World that is a huge mod that completely changes the game, and that has been the sole reason why so many players have returned to the game, or why so many of them chose to buy the game a second time because they had it on consoles but didn't have it on PC, so they couldn't mod it. Now, there is this theory going around in the community that is actually quite plausible, and it's that Capcom has been doing this because they have been taking more and more steps into adding microtransactions into their games. For example, Monster Hunter World at release didn't really have many cosmetics besides maybe a couple of stickers. With the Iceborne expansion, we saw the addition of this huge player house and the pendants as well, and so Capcom took that opportunity to sell you even more cosmetics. And when you take a look at the Monster Hunter Rise store page, there are even more cosmetics that are available to be purchased, totaling in hundreds of dollars. And here's the thing, why would you buy some of these cosmetics when you can get similar cosmetics, or even cooler sometimes, by just downloading a mod? That might affect Capcom's bottom line, and that is something that they probably don't like. That is just speculation at this point, of course, but it is something to keep in mind. After all, Dragon's Dogma 2 is just around the corner, Monster Hunter Wilds is being released next year, and we may see the implementation of the Enigma DRM into Monster Hunter World as well, which would potentially also lock out a lot of users from being able to play their game on Steam Decks and potentially even more systems. Again, it is quite sad to see all of this happening with Capcom, especially with everything going on right now. Just to give you a little bit of context, because there might be some people writing comments about me being a Capcom shill. Frankly, I only really play Dragon's Dogma and Monster Hunter. I've never really played much Street Fighter or Mega Man or even Resident Evil, and for as long as I've been doing YouTube, I have sung Capcom's praises, but I have also called them out on their BS in the past, and that is what I hope to keep doing here on the channel. My recent video on Monster Hunter World mods is currently fine, but it is at risk of Capcom taking it down, but I really wanted to address all of this because, again, I love these games, and for one, I think it's awful that Capcom has implemented something that has locked out several users from playing their game. Although it is likely going to be fixed very soon, let's just say that people don't like DRM, and the notion of it potentially affecting a game's performance or messing with mods isn't a particularly brilliant one. But secondly, I believe that the implications for the future is what worries me the most, as Monster Hunter World is likely going to be next and may see the implementation of the Enigma DRM very soon. So if you are on Steam, I would tell everyone to simply turn off the option for the games to auto-update so that this does not happen to you. But also the idea that Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon's Dogma 2 are more likely than not going to have this DRM implemented at release, and that it may affect the way mods are going to work with those games is a little bit disheartening. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Given all the outrage I've seen on the Steam forums and on Twitter as well, and that they are aware that people do not like this. It's just a matter of seeing how Capcom responds to all of this. Listen, we love their games, we want to play them and enjoy them as much as possible. I know for a fact that the Monster Hunter community is made up of a ton of loyal customers, so please Capcom, don't give us a reason to not play your games. I know it is within Capcom's right to implement all of this and to even take down some videos. I'm frankly very aware of all of this. But even so, I think that this is something that should be discussed as a community. And that is what I hope this video does. So if you share my opinion on this topic, please share this video or at least share what this video is about with as many people as you can, and let's hope for the best. Again, I did not want to make this video, I had one just ready to be released, but I felt like this was an important matter to talk about. As always, but also more importantly in this case, thank you very much for watching. My name is Dark Hero, and happy hunting.